Hello, everyone. Today we're going to talk about the Alias command. Welcome to my Web University free educational videos. I'm going to discuss the Alias command on Unix or Linux operating systems. So basically, this image shows one of the command of the Unix and Linux. The command is, in this case, is Alias. I'm going to just demonstrate this one. So let me just open up a terminal and go through this command. On this terminal that I'm already logged on MyWebUniversity.com. So the host name is the website MyWebUniversity.com, which is running Linux Ubuntu. If I type in uname -a, it shows all the descriptive information for the uh, Linux operating system. In this case, it's a Linux Ubuntu version 5.4 is the build of the kernel, and then the OS release is 18.4.5. So if I just do cut etc os-release, you can see that it is 18.4.5 in its Ubuntu version. And the reason I'm showing this one is because when I say this alias command works the same way for Unix and Linux, it is just good to see the operating system beforehand that you're learning the commands. And most of the commands that are on Unix will also work on Linux. About 80% of the commands are compatible. If they are system 5 release 4 or system D kind of configuration, basically, and they support at least 80 or 90% of the same commands or running on both Unix and Linux. But there are utilities that are different from Linux versus Unix, whether it's the Unix is Unix Solaris or Unix BSD, FreeBSD. BSD and FreeBSD is like Mac. Mac is a Mac OS OS X Darwin version is running on BSD also. So in this case, we're running Linux Ubuntu version, and I'm going to demonstrate the alias command here. So if I just clear my screen here, and I want to know my current aliases that I have set up, based on my ID, I have wlutfi as my user ID, and these are the aliases that I have already set up in my .bash or C script. So if I go here and I look at, there's a file called bash or C, because if I do get end password wlutfi, basically my default shell is /bin bash. Therefore, my bash or C stands for the profile file. Dot head dot is the heading file. Bash is the script name, and then RC is run control. So in this case, this heading file cat.bash or C has all the aliases listing of the commands here. So if I do a clear screen and I do a grep -i alias on .bash or C, these are the list of the list that is there. In order for me to always have these aliases available, I put it inside the .bash or C. So when I log in, automatically it runs. That's why the file is called .bash or C. In other words, if I clear my screen, now I logged on the system, like if we look at the uptime, it's been up and running for the past 283 days. I can say, okay, just show me the aliases that I'm currently having. These aliases are read from that bash or C file. So at this time, I'm going to demonstrate a couple of things. First, let's just look at this already egrep. Egrep stands for extended grep or expression grep. Extended grep because there's grep command, which is stand for a global regular expression print, a statement grep. That's a grep command that does basically all the grepping. But egrep is extended version of it. So it allows you to do multiple greps within a file. And then there's a fgrep also, which is fast grep. I will discuss those ones on a separate video. Let's just go at this time and do demonstration of egrep as an alias that I'm using here because it shows the color. So if I say egrep MyWebUniversity, and then I put the etc host file, it just picks up the string MyWebUniversity from the host name file. And if I just put the number, let's say instead of the MyWebUniversity, I could say just let's put the number 74. 74, since 74 is a match there, it will highlight that one with the number. And if I change it to .208, obviously the .208 is also matched in there. So I'm not going to discuss about the functionality of egrep at this time. I'm going to discuss the functionality of the alias. So we did the alias for grep. What if I just want to run something that it's not already there? I can create an alias by simply typing, like for example here, I type in alias, and then if I say for Python, let's say py3 is not there. If I just say alias py3, I don't have such an alias. And if I type in py3, it's not going to show. It's not going to work. It says that it's not there. Do you mean something else? I say, no, I don't mean something else. Let me just install it. So, I mean, create an alias for it. So I say which Python 3, and it tells me the path where my Python 3 version is there. So let me clear the screen and then do the which first. You could see that that's there. Whether I type in Python 3-v or user bin Python 3-v, it will still give me the version. -- version would do the same thing. So now I want to just simplify that one. Instead of typing Python 3, then I could just say that, let's say, create an alias as alias, and I call it py3 is equal, and then we could put user bin Python 3. And normally, if there's any kind of spaces, you put it in single quote. But if there's no spaces, you can still put it without single quote. It will still take it. Now I created the alias py3, and then alias py3 you can see is there available. Now the same thing that was working up here with Python 3-v or Python 3 -- version or Python anything will still work here. So now if I just replace Python 3 to py3, and then I type in -v, it will just give me the same thing. So that is an alias to Python 3. Version is the same thing. And then even if you just want to run it, whether you type in Python 3 here, and then so dir of this, and you can see the list of the packages, and I exit out here. I go back here, and then I type in py3. It takes me the same thing with Python 3.6 and dir of those. So every command that I can do here is the same. And then this time I'm going to, instead of exit, you can also do quit function, and that will get you out of the Python. So now let's do another alias. So if I clear my screen and I just say alias, I just created this py3. If I just don't need that alias, I can always unalias it. So if I just say unalias py3, then I just, an alias py3, you have to type the command correctly. So basically, I mistyped it here, an alias versus an alias with a not missing. Alias py3, now the command is gone. But if I need it back, I just go back to my list of commands here with Python 3. Here, I just do it, and now the command is back. So an alias takes it back to you. And then now if I just type in Python 3, it is going to take me, then I exit out. So let me clear a screen, and I'm going to do a find command, for example. So if I just want to know find dot minus name star dot C++, C++, and then minus type um, type F, that's a regular file. So this will just give me a list of file. But at the same time, if I want to get dash exact ls minus l and then pipe this, and then let's just do less them as well. And if I just need this long command, and instead of typing it every time, I could just make a find CPP command. So the way you create it, you just say alias, I'm sorry, alias, and then you type in find C++, like just do a find command, and then put this command here to here inside your thing. So I'm going to type it in, find dot minus name star dot C++. And notice the single quote here and then the double quote, they have to be exactly like I'm typing it. Otherwise, if you type in different syntax or the type, and this F means regular file, and this exact means once you find it, then do a ls minus l on the entire loop. This is the braces is kind of starting a loop and ending a loop. And then the slash and semicolon is saying that like for each line that you printed, go print the enter and key. That's why this line comes in. So now we have created an alias, but unfortunately, I did not do something here, which was closing the find command. So right here, after this, because I'm creating an alias, I have to put this single quote. Now it took it. So now let's do alias again, and you can see this long command find CCP is there. So I could just type in find C++, and it will just run the same command. And then if you feel like, okay, what if you just want to find out any file that start with certain, you use the dash E, for example, to show escape sequence and everything. So let's just do that. C for cat, and then dash, and instead of the N character, we type in the E character for expression and all the new lines and everything. And then and instead of the word, we say, let's say we call it, we could do the same thing, but I'm going to do on a different file. Let's say on hello. Hello is good enough for HL, LO. Maybe we could type in the whole thing. And then is equal, actually, I have to go back to that alias and then change it here to, so let's just do the same file again, E, and then Word. And that way we just use the same file from the file words. I just add this time the name of the file also, words, and then and instead of cat dash n, we're going to say cat dash e. Sorry, dash e. And dash n would give you the arguments, and then with line numbers, dash e shows you new line characters. So now we have aliases, and then one of them is called C-E words. So let's call it C-E words. And you can see that it shows it line numbers. What line numbers is that with expression is this end of line missing, and I'm sorry, new line characters with $sign or tabs or anything. It is basically that. So if I do pipe more, if there's any other character, you see all these new line characters are there. If there was tab, it would show control I or any other characters. Space are not going to show. It just shows as space, but control I characters. So if I just do VI on it, you could do a set env on it also, and it would be there. But the alias commands are all there. You can do this. And another example of ls minus l, for example. So if I just say clear screen, alias ls, you can see the color is also listed. So if I just do ls, you can see everything is showing in colors. ls minus l, it shows everything with line numbers and the permission, ownership, and everything as well. And that is basically the alias command there. Okay, if I want to save this commands on my alias, I need to put it on the bash or C. So next time, since I don't need them, I can always write them and I can always modify it. It's okay for me. But for you, maybe if you don't feel like running these commands all the time, create aliases and put it on your .bash or C. If you do get env password wlutfi, for example, in this case, my user ID, I'm sorry, get end password wlutfi, then you can see that it's /bin bash. That also reveals from this bash. And this is my process ID for it. So by doing echo um, $, it is just telling me that what is my process ID for the current shell. But if you're using C shell or corn shell or other ones, and instead of the .bash or C, sorry, cd, that .bash or C file, it would be .csh or .corn shell rc, depending on your shell. So that's important. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a good one, and please don't forget to subscribe. Have a nice one. Thank you all. Let me stop the video.